We're live. What's going on? All right. What is this? What are we doing here? What are we here for?
Good question, wasting our Sunday, it seems. No, this is our first video recording of Rising Adults.
Rising Adults.
Tell us a little bit about Rising Adults, John.
First, maybe you can tell them. I don't think I ever told you like where I came up with the name. I didn't come up with the name. So Deborah, if you're watching, tune out now. Don't sue me, please. I already registered the name, so it's too late for you. So, I mean, a couple of summers ago, I was a teaching assistant for a high school program, and you know how you go around the room and you kind of introduce yourselves. So they had the high schoolers say, you know, what class standing they were. So one person would be like, oh, but since it was summer, they were about to change classes. So it was like if they were freshmen, they'll be going to their sophomore. It'll be, I'm a rising sophomore, I'm a rising junior, so on and so forth. So our friend Deborah, who was also one of the other teaching assistants, she got up and she was like, hi, well, I'm a rising adult. And everyone just burst out laughing. So,
Yo, I thought you were talking about Deborah.
No, Deborah. Like I said, I hope you're not still listening because. Anyway, thanks for
Deborah.
Yeah, thanks, Deborah. But
wherever you are.
Yeah, that's so. So the rising adults, that just kind of stuck with us, and I had the idea for a while of like wanting to do something like this where, because there are a lot of things that you learn along the way that you're like, damn, I wish someone had just told me this. At least I heard it before. And, there's certain skills that I think that are very important that just not being taught. And I think, you can explain and entertain. That's our tagline. You'll see it right here. Explain, entertain.
It's going to be in bold letters right across my face.
There you go. But, for those of y'all just listening, thanks for tuning in. This is new to us. Hoping to grow as well. So this is going to be one of our learning experiences, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, we love the feedback, and we hope to push this on our friends and see who actually wants to support us.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jonathan and I, we grew up together. We grew up in St. Lucia.
Wow, we didn't even introduce ourselves.
Yeah, nobody really knows who we are.
So this is Julian.
Yeah, I'm Julian, and that's John. We grew up in St. Lucia. We're both engineers now, and both swam for St. Lucia nationally and everything. And honestly, last couple of years, we started getting a lot closer and started talking every day and stuff. And I feel like we always have some idea.
Right.
Like every day we try to put out some business idea.
We're Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not going to say which one is Pinky, which one is the Brain. But.
But not for real, for months and months and months, every day, I just send him a long 4 or 5 minute voice note of some random idea I saw today, and then he had to come back and say someone do that already.
Or you should do it.
No? Yeah, exactly. I'll give feedback, right? And this was something that we discussed, and I think we both liked the idea because I remember, out of college, university, applying for jobs, and that was a complicated process. It seems so simple, right? It seems so simple. You get your degree, and right after, you go straight into getting a job. It's almost supposed to be 1-2 step. But no one tells you about networking, touching up your resume the right way.
Exactly.
All these things, right? And I remember writing an article about it. It was called I even remember the name of it.
It was on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, it was on LinkedIn. Okay. It was I have a degree. Where's my job?
Yeah.
And it just kind of was a step by step of how I went through the process, because I realized I did engineering. I was expecting to have 5-6 offers lined up. Not necessarily people begging me, but at least have 5-6 options of stuff I could apply to. But it was still tough. You still have to do the work. You still have to put in. You still have to interview. You still have to do your research on the company, logistics, everything. So I think there's just a lack of. I shouldn't say a lack of, but maybe it's just not readily available for people of just knowledge like this, that practical knowledge, that of how to be an adult, right? And,
Yeah, exactly. That's
like we
part of
joke about it a lot, and I mean, like I'm sure we'll relate to a lot of the, we're 26 and
25.
25, so we'll relate to, we're
The
hoping to
rising
relate-
adults.
Exactly,
It's
rising
coming up.
adults.
It's coming up. You mentioned like that you. I don't think I ever talked about this with you, but how long after you graduated did you start working? Is it straight after or a break?
Stop recording.
We're having technical issues with the voice recording on his computer, but we'll just leave it. Just leave it. I have it going on mine.
All right, cool.
It's fine. It's
Um,
part of the first podcast.
yeah, that's
guys.
what it is, I
Or
guess.
whatever.
Yeah. You know what? It better be done.
Oh man.
What's the question?
I was just asking, how long has it been since you? How long between you graduating and you getting your first job? How long was that?
I mean, I was lucky. Like I talk about it, but I was lucky. It was a few months, right? But those like 2-3 months seemed like forever, especially because I had roommates who had jobs lined up before they graduated,
Right.
and I guess they had help from somewhere. Someone told them to do the internships, put in your applications, and not everyone gets that advice. And I'm gonna try to make that readily available because I remember I was sweating because all these guys talking about, I'm starting August 1st and I'm just gonna hang around till then, have a fun summer, and I'm like pulling my hair out, wondering where this job gonna come from.
It got to the point where I hated talking about it because it was kind of embarrassing. Like I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, why should it be embarrassing? Like my friends.
Right.
Talking to my friends, like they don't even want to go to social events. Like they disappear off social media because they don't want people to know that they're still looking for a job. Like why should that be embarrassing?
But you would need people to know you're looking for a job so they can
yeah,
help you.
Exactly. So it's like a double-edged sword, right? I mean, like if you're looking for a job, you're looking for a job. Like it shouldn't be a problem, right?
That's true, but it's just like the fact that I felt okay. This was my take coming out. I was like, oh, I went to a good school. I have great grades. I'll just send out my resume.
Ivy League school,
I mean, relax. But yeah, I thought it worked that way. I thought it was just I have great qualifications and that's what it took. I'm a great candidate for the job and I'd find it that way. Coming to find out that's just not how it works. And so things like that I think is just exactly like what we are trying to get to the point of where it's like more of an open discussion and people are just freely talking about things that you should have known but you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, does everyone know how to change a tire? I don't think so. I mean, but it's like a simple thing that it's one of those things that you think you should be able to do. How to grill a steak.
And here's the thing, right? Like they have a lot of how-to videos and stuff, and honestly, I use them a lot. But it's just some random man or woman talking for like 3 minutes in about who knows what while you're sitting there waiting for the actual explanation of what you're doing. And I mean, obviously it's good to have some background, but I think if we can, shape a show or a podcast or a vlog, whatever you want to call it, to show you these things, but as well as talk about the feelings associated with them. So, like you said, like applying for a job.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it in the period when you talk? Let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about why you feel embarrassed. Like, why did you feel embarrassed? Like, what do you think could have changed that? And hopefully we can help you, not feel embarrassed and point out some reasons why you should be confident and you should keep pushing because at the end of the day you're doing a good thing, right? And that's what it boils down to, right? And it's tough for some people. It's tough. Like some people get lucky. Some people, it takes a little time, and we just need the reassurance sometimes that it'll be okay. So we're hoping to cover all those areas, not just relate to the rising adults, but also talk about what they're actually feeling, and also talk about like yes. So there's always a perfect world, right? But then we also want to talk about what actually happens, right? Like we can come and talk and say all this stuff and give you a step by step, but like, is that really what's gonna happen when you're in that scenario? When you go on that date, like, are you actually gonna say all these things? Like, when she breaks up with you, or you break up with her, like, is that actually how you're gonna feel? So, yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna focus on.
We have. Could you pull up that article? Yeah.
Go.
There's something up here for a little readout. How to become an adult. Just read the first excerpt for us.
It should be obvious, of course. We're grown-ups now. We're physically mature. We have a job, can drive a car, use the internet, and will stay up very late. But such objective markers of adulthood have a habit of failing to reflect our underlying psychological realities. Our development as true adults may lag many decades behind any official date of maturity. In the way our emotions operate, out of reach of conscious awareness, with nothing derogatory being meant by this, most of us continue to function rather like small children we once were. Around characters who look authoritative or are senior to us, we might, for example, habitually become passive and hugely timid. We may imbue them with unwarranted. I obviously have not read this before.
That was part of my plan. I wanted to put him on the spot.
Let me start that again. We may imbue them with unwarranted authority and expect them to know all the answers. The idea of contradicting them can feel utterly out of the question.
Right. So just going off of that, it's the line where it's
The picture some
some philosopher, but it should be obvious, of course. That's the first line, but it's not obvious, right? That's the main thing. This is what it is. There's a disconnect between. Think about. I remember when I was growing up and I saw 20-year-olds. I was like, those people are ancient. Like they know everything.
yeah.
But it's the fact that we are those people now, and there's no. We haven't caught up to it yet. It's like we haven't realized. It hasn't clicked for us yet that yes, we the adults now. You know, we have the same authority. We don't need to look up to. We need to look up to those people who can teach us something, but we don't need to have this kind of passive fear of people. And I think that's another thing that comes into it when we're talking about going out and networking and talking to people. That's one of the things we want to touch on this is, you know, how do you navigate being an up and coming a junior adult, you know, where you have all these people above you. I mean, I had this situation at work where, I mean, I'm sure we all have, where you have an idea and you're like, it's been done a certain way for however many years, and just because it's been done that way, you come and you have an idea, a fresh idea, you want to change things up, and they look at you like you're crazy, but they're supposed to push back.
Yeah.
It's up to you. I don't think they should immediately, you come in fresh with this brand new idea, and I don't think they should be like, oh, let's do it, you know, right away. I think part of it is getting the courage to be like, okay, I belong here. I'm an adult now, just like all of you guys. Let me tell you why I think it's a better idea, not just hear that first no and go away.
Right.
You know, so that's how.
Or feel like your idea or suggestion was totally trash, right? You know, It may have been good, but they just want you to push a little more to flush it out a little bit. You know, if it does need that, you know, and obviously, you know, convincing people as well is a huge deal. Just selling yourself in general is, you know, a huge part of being an adult, to be honest. You have to do it in your relationships. You have to do it at work. You have to do it to your friends. You have to do it to your family. It's just a never-ending cycle of trying to sell yourself. So and prove to other people your beliefs, you know, religion, what else? Political views. No, it's just a never-ending cycle of selling yourself. And I think too that, you know, it's tricky because a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, so like say this comes up a lot, doing your taxes, right? A lot of people are saying, oh, I wish there was a course in high school or college for me to know how to do my taxes. I didn't care about that when I was in high school or even university. Yeah. Not that I didn't care about taxes, but I mean, I'm thinking about parties and going out and, you know, obviously getting good grades and just trying to live, right? Trying to see if that $5 you have on Sunday is gonna stretch till Tuesday when, you know, payday comes again, right? Or Friday when payday comes again. It's not necessarily thinking about how am I gonna do my taxes when I have my job. I'm not thinking about a job yet. So I think yes, I think those classes would have been helpful in high school, but is it the right time, right? So, and would we be receptive to learning it? Because I like math, and I'm sure you get offended by this too when someone says, "Oh, why did I learn that stupid Pythagorean theorem?"
Yeah.
And
I haven't used Pythagorean theorem today.
yeah, yeah. Okay. No, I don't necessarily write down the. Well, I do because I kind of have to, but I don't think that I think that was absolutely useful. And I think we're all missing the larger part of what those things are teaching, and I think that's a good example of
Right.
us not picking up on the larger picture. So someone saying, "Hey, you learn taxes now, you'll need it in 10 years," right? So
You know what it is? You know what it is?
what do you think?
It's like a football player. No one would say to a football player, or a football player probably wouldn't say, you know what? Uh, I haven't used bench press on the field at all. Why do I do bench presses? I don't use bench presses in the game, but bench presses are critical to developing your body to a point where you're able to do certain functions on the field, right?
Right.
I think it's the same with a lot of things at school, like math. It's not necessarily that you have to be able to use the Pythagorean theorem or algebra or any of those abstract concepts. Even if you don't end up being a mathematician, although some of us will, it's about being able to train your mind to come to a place where it's like a bench press for your brain, where you're developing skills that you're going to transfer in other places. It's building your brain up, and I think that's something we don't really understand. We don't really give credit for in how some parts of school teaches you how to learn.
Yeah.
And continuing to learn is another thing where I think it's important for us to talk about is as young adults, we just left school, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you just stop learning. At least for me, I mean every chance I get,
Every day.
I'm picking up a new skill.
Yeah.
Whether it's reading a book, joining a class, I think that's all part of being a rising adult.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 I mean, it's the same. Another sports analogy is on a basketball team you
We
might
might
see
have
only
a few sports analogies on this.
yeah.
So if you don't like sports, share with a friend who does.
Yeah. Hopefully you can relate it.
Yes.
But I'm not big on sports either. But at least it makes sense to me in my head. But the person who's scoring the basketball, I'll say basketball. The person who's scoring the basketball, like there's a lot of other stuff that's going into that you might not see. So someone passing the ball, someone dribbling down the court, someone set a screen for him so they block the other defender to give him an open shot. Someone got the rebound on the other end. So
He says he's not really into sports, but the most complicated.
those are all the phrases I know.
Yeah.
But just basically saying that there's all of the things in the background that are leading up to him scoring that basket or her scoring that basket, and it's not necessarily what you see out in the open. But you have to remember that there are subtle things that also create the larger effect. So like you said, learning, the more things you can learn, you will find some way to apply it. And then, like I said, like if you're constantly selling yourself, you're constantly grasping for these things that you learn, all over the place to try to help build yourself up for whatever situation you're in. Like whether is you becoming you enter into a managerial position, or whether it's in your family, how you apply yourself in your family, how you apply yourself in your friend groups. There's I don't know, just endless different situations I think you end up in. So, I mean, what are some ideas? What are some examples of things that you think we can have practical knowledge on for the show? Like, what are some things that we really want to teach? I mean, just off the top of your head.
So the way I kind of like break this down is you have some core literacies and maybe 4 or 5 core competencies and literacies. You have your one that's often neglected. You have your health literacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have your health literacy that comes with taking care of your body, eating right, getting enough sleep. That's something that's
Very important.
very important. Then you have your civic literacy. You know, that's like being involved in your community, knowing what's up with the politics, being involved, registering to vote, something as simple as that.
Yeah.
I can go on a whole another rant about why you should. Don't you think you should be like automatically opted in to vote? Like registering to vote shouldn't be a thing. Everyone should be automatically registered. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. But
I mean, just off the top of my head, I think the whole push behind voting is having a choice. So if someone were to say you have to vote, and I feel
not that you have to vote, but you shouldn't have to go through an extra hoop
yeah.
in terms of registering. I think that's a exclusionary tactic. But again, that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
another thing. But again, so you have things like that, discussions around those types of topics where it's civic topics. So you have health, financial. Did I say financial? Health, financial, civic,
yeah.
and you have what else? What else would you say?
I mean, like family. I don't
Right.
really want to put that under.
Right. Right.
Essentially, what all the different things that we're constantly balancing throughout, a day, an hour, right? Like, I want to go out with friends. I also need to get sleep. I need to eat dinner. I need to have money to go out with friends. I just gave some money to a charity on Sunday. Now I have to save up for next week. How am I eating? What am I eating? I have to do groceries. I have to do laundry. Maybe you have a kid. You have to take care of the kid. It's just, you have to study for exams. You have deadlines for work. There's just so many different things that we're always, forever balancing. So, like, hopefully we can help, with a few skills that we want to learn too, right? Because
Right.
we want to bring in expert guests, right, to talk about their area of expertise and how they got there and how they learn about it and what we actually need to learn about it. So everyone's learning. Like, we want to learn too,
Right.
and we want to, get you involved as well. So, and I mean, as I think once you have those tools, like once you know this is what I need to do for my health, my family, civic duty, finances, then you have, better ammo to, help balance those things if you're good at them. So that's what we hope to achieve, to help give you the best chance you have at balancing. Because at the end of the day, everyone's situation is different. Ours, I mean, we are very similar, but I mean, we obviously totally have different situations in a lot of cases. So I think it's always comes down to balance. Absolutely. How long do we think we're gonna record this for? I don't think I realized how hard it is to talk for an hour. No, we just wanted this first episode to, just kind of talk about why we wanted the show on and, get some feedback and just get an episode out there, right?
Just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I remember. Okay, so going back to what we said earlier, when I graduated, it took me almost a year to find a full-time position that in my field, and within that time, I think that's where we really started like scheming and plotting, because I wanted to figure out some way to make some money,
Yeah.
So I remember around that time.
He says scheming, but it was totally legitimate.
Yeah, just so. Yeah, so one of the things we came up with was Instagram. Instagram is a hot thing right now. Promoting stuff on Instagram, and we decided we're gonna start our Instagram pages. And being swimmers, we decided, you know what, let's just start a swim page.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we do have these ideas, we like think about, I would do this and do that, and it a lot of it stays on paper and in our heads.
Yeah.
But that one time, we were just like, no, let's just do it. Let's just start.
Yeah.
Let's get a name, find a name, just open the account, put 4 pictures up, and we just did it. And from that, I think the pictures were terrible. We put like random. Some of them were just like, Can we be honest for a second? The first 4 or 10 pictures were just kind of just haphazardly selected just because we just wanted to start.
Yeah.
Just wanted to start. And but as we went on, we got these extra. We had a format down. We'd post on Wednesday. We'd post something more inspirational for swimmers. And on Fridays it was swim fail Fridays, and we post funny videos. So it just grew out of just those four terrible. They were terrible pictures that were posted.
But we started.
Yeah, but we
That's
started,
amazing,
yeah,
right?
and then we grew it to about 10,000 followers in about 3 months, and just from nothing. So I think that this is the idea of this. This is the pilot. This is the pilot. This is probably not that good, but that's okay, and we're gonna get better. We're gonna learn. We hope you guys follow along on our journey.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some segments. Yeah. So
And we want your feedback. So I
Yep,
mean, we
yep.
love feedback, and
Exactly.
we're gonna set up some social media stuff as well. So like you said, you can kind of follow our journey. And like
Rising adults.
we are in his kitchen right now
Yeah.
recording this. So
Right.
I think it'll be funny to look back in 5 years from now and say, look at where this thing
Yeah.
started, right? Like there's dirty dishes all over the place.
Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's behind the camera. Let's leave that. Let's leave what's going on behind the camera. It's hard to adult. There's not time to do all that stuff. We were just
Hey,
like,
but-
let's do it. Let's slow
But
it
at the
down.
end of the day, we started, right? So like
There we go.
that was our main. And even doing that took us months to get started.
There we go. So,
Here we are.
here we go. So I have a quick, off the top of my head, I'm gonna rapid fire questions for Julian. There's nothing up on my screen. There really
I'm
isn't.
trying to peek to see
There really
if
isn't.
there's
He was gonna look. There's nothing. I'm just going off the top of my head. Let's see. It's gonna be in or out. Okay.
Okay.
In or out on teachers should be paid higher salaries.
In.
Why? We put it on the spot.
Yeah. You could have prepared me for these questions,
No.
I say in because teachers have a hard job, and I feel like not that anyone's a bad parent. I mean, just people get caught up with life and jobs and stuff, and the teachers really are raising us, right? Like they're raising the kids. Like they're the ones who spend a lot of, maybe not the most in all cases, but a lot of time with your kids. And now, like I would want to invest in, having my if I had a kid, like I would want to invest in them having the best opportunity, educational wise. And that has to come from the teachers who need to be happy and joyful about, taking care of someone else's children. I'm all for it. Absolutely.
Okay. Next question. In or out on cancel culture?
On what?
Cancel culture.
What's that?
It's when, okay, let's say we find out that Ronaldo tweeted back in 2011
Sports reference.
that, he doesn't think teachers should have a higher salary. And, there's an outrage about that, and people pull it up and they're like, we should stop buying Ronaldo. We should stop going to see Ronaldo or something like that. Canceling, trying to deplatform people that we don't agree with their views. What do you think about that?
I mean, so I remember, I forget, I think it was H&M did something. I'm not going to go into it, but I just remember them.
Oh, yes, I also remember. We're not going to mention. Also not going to mention.
Yeah, but there was this meme of a monkey wearing a suit, and the caption was something like "sale." Or
So there's a sale at H&M.
Yeah, it's basically. I mean, like I totally think that if you don't believe in something and you don't believe in the product, you should boycott it. Yeah, absolutely. But funny is the wrong word. But the funny thing is, like, there's still gonna be people who are on the other side, like, still pushing, right? Because I mean, a lot of times this happens to. It's strange. Like, I feel like it only happens to like very famous people or like huge companies that maybe they take a hit, like maybe they take a small hit, but they somehow still end up surviving. And I mean, like, it has to. Yes, I think you should do it. I think that there are other ways that I think should also be enforced as well. I'll put it that way.
You say it only happens to big people, but you know what's crazy? There was this guy on Twitter. I don't know if you remember. It's above me now. The above me now guy. And people went up and they dug up. He wasn't that big of a celebrity. It was his 15 minutes of fame. But people dug up stuff that he had tweeted, and they were like, "This is unacceptable. We need to get this guy." It's kind of strange that people.
And it's done after that.
Yeah, he's done. I mean, he would have been done anyway. I don't think he had any.
No, I mean, absolutely. You should have no business buying something that is against all of the values that you stand for.
I'm not just talking about like purchasing products or something like that. I'm more talking about like
following someone either.
Right. I'm saying exactly. Let's say someone doesn't agree with something I said today, right? Then I would like you to comment below and tell me why. No, I'm not. I'm just being 100% with you guys. If someone doesn't agree with what I said, I want them to be able to tell me that. I want to be able to have a dialogue about it. I don't want them to be calling for us to cancel our show.
Yeah, but I mean, can you always pick up a phone and call Ronaldo and say, "Hey, Ronaldo, I don't agree with what you're saying"?
No.
I mean, yeah, for us, absolutely, we want we get feedback that way. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely it's a good question. It's a lot to talk about. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a lot to talk about.
But
so you can't tell me in or out.
In or out. That's it. Quick rapid
I don't know.
fire.
I'm just saying. Bottom line is, if you believe in you should have no business following something or someone or buying or whatever, and they don't have the same values that you believe in. That's my take.
No, that's completely fair. Completely fair. In or out on buying expensive things with your first paycheck.
It's tough. Because that money comes in and I don't know, it depends on what your responsibilities are, but I mean, and it depends on when you get that first paycheck. I know at 21, when my first paycheck came in, I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like there's so many people that you promised that first paycheck, and they're like,
I don't know where they are now. Yeah. I hope you're not listening today.
Yeah. No, I think buy it, man. I think buy it.
Just go for it.
Yeah, just go for it. Like, don't worry about rent the next month.
We may be we may be contradicting this advice in our upcoming financial literacy
Exactly.
episode.
Exactly.
But
I mean, yeah, like I said, we're gonna give practical advice,
right? And then we're gonna tell you what it really happened. It's gonna be like, here's the textbook version.
Hey, absolutely, you should put some money down for the car that you need to buy and save up a little if you want to go out on the weekends or for a trip maybe later on in the year. And you definitely have to make sure rent is taken out and food you have to eat. So I think take out the bare essentials. Like, hey, next month I'm gonna survive, and then I would say, blow that last, but don't make it a habit though, because you don't want every month to just be like, I'm gonna spend that little extra money I have.
But you deserve it. That first one, you deserve it.
You deserve it for sure. Yeah, you deserve it. I mean, we worked so hard. I mean, a lot of people work really hard, right? And at the end of the day, money, I hate to say it, but money's meant to be spent. Like, absolutely, you invest it. And
again, we may be contradicting this advice in upcoming segments, but
money's meant to be spent. I mean, there's smarter ways to spend it, but at the end of the day, I don't want to say this, but you only live once, and I mean,
YOLO.
What is stacking up money for no?
What?
Yeah. What about you? In out? Why are you asking all these questions?
Do you have any?
No, the same one.
Were you prepared? No. I'm just commenting. I'm just here. I don't know.
No, I don't have any. I didn't know we were doing this segment.
I caught him off guard.
I kind of like it. I think it'll be my turn next to catch you up on the next show.
We got it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed listening today, follow us at The Rising Adults. And my roommate just walked in. Yeah, that was just...
This will have my record in the kitchen.
Yeah. My roommate just walked in. However, don't mind that.
Yeah, man.
What's going on? And... Hey! Rising Adults signing off.